Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to talk about designing enjoyable life tasks with the real life example of me recording these YouTube videos. And I've made some other videos on this topic before. I call it designing enjoyable piano practice and life tasks, and basically it's a really important part of both my practicing of piano and my actual life, because of course we want things to be the most enjoyable possible so that we conserve the most energy possible, so that we're the happiest possible. So I think it's very much a part of solving not only our piano practice but our overall life puzzles. And anyway, on this channel I hope to share with you strategies, mindsets, methods, etc., often of my own creation, that I hope will help you in your life and hopefully in your piano playing as well too. So yeah, I mean, the other videos I made, if you search my name and designing enjoyable piano practice and life tasks, I think it is, there's 2 videos on that. I talked a little bit about how a lot of the time we can list out the reasons that we don't enjoy something, for instance, and then we can find ways to creatively eliminate them or change them. And maybe it's something that we really didn't enjoy, and we can find creative ways to design it such that we can't wait to do it. And you know, it's like a kid waking up on their birthday. You can't wait to do the given thing that you originally were avoiding. And you know, I give extended examples there. I give other ideas in terms of habits and so on. But I think that this will be an ongoing thing for me too, and hopefully it's useful for you to hear some of my thoughts, because we all have tasks that we have to continue to do as adults, either just in terms of general adulting, if you will, or in terms of doing our job, running our business, helping our families, and so on. And well, I mean, first of all, if we can design these things so that they're the most enjoyable possible, we have the most energy, happiness, etc. left over, that we can enjoy other parts of our lives and be better to our families and friends, and just enjoy life more. And of course, secondly, that will give you more energy to practice the piano, if that's part of the reason that you're following this channel. And I think about this stuff all the time. And I'm sure I've said this before, I'll say it again. I don't think of them just as vague analogies, like, oh, like what I do in piano, I do in life. Like, they're so interrelated. Like, if I'm not practicing piano in a very smart, efficient, enjoyable way, that's going to carry over in the rest of my life. And if there are other things I have to do in my life that are just eating away at me, that I'm thinking about all the time, that's bothering me all the time, I cannot focus on my practice in the most efficient way possible. Even if I use my own methodologies and strategies, there's going to be so much of my mental, emotional energy eaten up thinking about these non-musical, non-pianistic things. So I'm using this real life example of making these YouTube videos. To be totally honest, if I could choose to just not make YouTube videos altogether, and there were no negative consequences at all, I'd probably do that. Not that I don't enjoy making these. I do enjoy sharing all these ideas with you guys, but I probably like playing the piano itself even more. I probably like reading more. I like spending time with my wife and cats and family more. I like traveling more. There's many, you know, today I would have just enjoyed the beautiful day outside for the entire day rather than staying home to make some videos. But you know, there are some reasons why I think it's worth it. And because it's worth it, I'm going to continue doing it. I've calculated the pros and cons. And I think that's important, first of all. So you really weigh the pros and cons. You're like, if I stop making YouTube videos altogether, in my case, what consequences would that have? And, you know, what would I gain as a result of doing that? And when I have weighed the pros and cons, I have found that it is in fact worth it, because I'm helping a ton of people. It's helping the business, which is in turn generating income for my family. It's helping me in other ways as well too. And so since I am doing it, then the question becomes, how can I make it the most enjoyable possible? I think one big thing first is reflection. I just did a little bit of reflecting just now, but I can do some more in the moment about why it is worth it, why it makes a difference to the world to do it, why it's a positive thing. Because to understand the reasoning behind it, to frame it in the right way, that could really change my general mindset over it, so that I at least don't dread it, and I maybe even look forward to it. So for instance, some of the videos that I've made recently, that I made today, in fact, you see me wearing the same sweater here, it's because it's real life questions that my students are actually asking. So when I see like 2-3 different students asking this, and then I make a video on it, I know it's going to be useful to them, and I know it's going to be useful to many, many other students. And people will leave comments on the channel too, even though I don't have a very big channel, about how helpful they thought things were. So I think like I'm only seeing like a very small percentage of the people that I'm helping. I've had many times when people said like, oh, I've been following your channel, I've been following you on like Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. I didn't know. They did not, they never liked a video, they never left a comment, but then like years later, they'll be like, oh yeah, I watched like every single one of your videos, or I really appreciate you putting out this content. And then I figure like, well, it may be making a very significant difference in their piano playing and in their lives, and I'm only seeing the tip of the iceberg, because I know as a consumer, as a person that, of course, just watches random videos on YouTube, I'm not the type that comments. I'm not the type that likes videos a lot of the time. I don't reach out to every single creator and say like, hey, I'm watching your videos. So I know that there's many people I must be helping, both that I can see and many, probably many more that I can't see. And so for me, that makes me really happy that I really can help people to make a difference in their piano playing. Maybe they would have been completely stuck otherwise, as I'm often told. Like they've tried like many other apps, they've gone to many different channels and so on, and maybe even their actual piano lessons, they're still stuck, and something from my logical methodology or physical methodology, or one of the videos I made today, that could completely transform somebody's progress, somebody's musicality, somebody's technique, somebody's expression, somebody's thinking. And so that just makes me really happy. And in terms of my business overall, more and more people now are saying like, oh, I found you through like an ad or something, but then I looked you up and I saw you playing, I saw you teaching, and I saw the reviews and so on. And so it is really helping the business. Like people are reaching out. It could be total beginners, it could be advanced students, and they're reaching out because, hopefully the playing is actually legitimately good. There's proof of results, there's proof that I can play the piano, there's proof that I can teach, and it's just, and it's something I'm naturally doing anyway. It's not like I'm trying to, scour my brain for like, oh, what's the next content piece? It's always going to be what I'm playing already, what I'm teaching already, what I just taught to students this last week. So it's very relevant to what it is I'm doing. It's very real. It's very down to earth. And because of this, it's also motivating because obviously I'm literally generating more business. I'm finding more students because of it. And then of course I can support my family better because, we're having more income, and that if I can help my family, then we can have a better life, obviously. So there's that. I think it's really improving my teaching because look, I'm the type that I can off the cuff go on literally for hours and hours, probably days or weeks on end, and not run out of things to talk about. So in a regular, even if it were like a private lesson or something, I might start off on one topic and then I'll go off on some tangent and lecture about that for like 45 minutes and then come back to the main topic. But the videos I make, though they're still kind of long sometimes, they force me to think a little bit more about at least what are the general topics I'm talking about in this video. How can I make this a little bit more clear? How can I make this a 20-minute video instead of like an 80-minute video and provide people the same value? And I think it really forces me to think about things in a different way. So for instance, like I made this video called 3-Dimensionality in Movement, where I'm talking about how to derive wrist and arm movements. And I had never called it that before. When I guess I'd always explained the concept, but I hadn't called it 3-Dimensionality in Movement. I just felt like, oh, I have to think of a name so that people can sort of understand what it is that I'm talking about. I've noticed that when I recorded my video on holding and relaxing, when I recorded my videos on hand orientation and shape, like I had never actually articulated it that way before. And that was fascinating to me because I would do this as asides in conversations with students all the time, right? Like I would explain to them like, oh yeah, I usually hold my hand this way, or usually I do this with my wrist, or this is my all loud with accents touch, which is yet another video. It was only when I had to actually make a video that I was like, wow, this is kind of hard. Like this video is pretty much totally off the cuff, and those videos are off the cuff to the extent that they're not scripted. But I wasn't able to just make it like instantly. I had to like at least think like, okay, what are really the main points that I want to get across? What are the things that I say to every single student that I've said over and over again over the years? how can I condense it and not miss anything that's crucial, at least? And so because of that, I feel like my teaching was forced to evolve just as a function of making the content. So it's like, for free, I am evolving my teaching just as a function of making content. And part of the amazing thing is that once that content is created, now that video's there, now there's a higher level of baseline knowledge, and I'm making it available for free, right? Originally, I thought like, oh, I'm gonna make this as part of a course within one of my specialized programs, within Pianist Collective, for instance. And then I thought, you know what? It's better just to truly give this away for free, something that was originally in my private lessons, because the lessons themselves and being in the collective or another program that I'm running, some kind of specialized program, it genuinely is that much more valuable, because nothing can truly replace extremely specific feedback tailored specifically to you. And so I realized like, hey, it's not a bad thing to give away the secrets, so to speak. So, so when everybody, including the public, has this new baseline of knowledge, everybody's playing, strategy, musicality, technique, mindset is at a higher level. And then now that I've recorded this video and I've evolved, it frees up my mind to be able to teach even higher level concepts. So I think about all these things. I think about all the people I'm helping. I think about how obviously I'm generating business and providing for my family. It's providing much more value to current clients. Like when I record new YouTube videos, like my students that are with me now, they find it extremely valuable. They tell me this all the time. They reference the videos all the time. And for them, unlike for the public, they can get feedback specifically from me, which videos are most useful for them, and how about this video as applied to their piece, and then we can have that back and forth. So it provides value to current students. It causes potential students to sign on. So if you're a piano teacher yourself, for instance, you can think about this. And if you're just a student or a regular person, you can still think about like, hey, all this content's available for free, but if you were to one day join one of these programs, we would be really, really happy to help tailor this advice specifically to you, despite how specific it is already. There's still so much granular depth that we can go to. And I forget what the third point was, but in any case, and about how I'm evolving the teaching all the time. So I think about that, and it really motivates me to make the videos. Another thing is that, hey, if I've explained the same thing multiple times during the week, I think to myself, hey, if I record this video and I do a good job, I won't have to explain this again. Not that I don't have the patience to do it, but it could be much less of a time and energy cost for the potential student as well too. So I can send the video to them, they can watch it on their own time. If they don't like watching long form video, that's totally fine. I can explain to them live, but it'll save time and energy for a lot of students. They can reference it anytime. They could record private lessons and other types of lessons too, but to have a video that's slightly more organized, that I actually thought out a little bit more, maybe even wrote out some notes to myself to create, that is probably more value packed per minute. And so that's going to be more worthwhile for them. Maybe in combination with live instruction, or if you're not my student, then you can learn still a ton on your own. So I'm sure that there's more reasons, but again, this entire tirade that I went on just now, that is a big part of designing enjoyable life tasks, because I've reflected deeply on what's the meaning I'm bringing to the world, to my students, to myself, to my family, to my teaching. And by extension to my playing, because the better the teacher I am, the better the teacher I am of myself. I think the two are so interrelated. And, then the better that my business does and my studio does. And then because it does better, then I have the time to invest in myself to like practice more, learn more, practice the piano, read books, invest in myself in terms of like education, unconventional education, and, have more time to reflect and think. And then that makes my teaching go better, and my business go better, and my life go better. And then all of these things feed into each other. So hopefully you can hear I'm really passionate about all this. And so reflection, even in this moment, I didn't even know some of the things that would come out of my mouth. I just feel happier about doing it, about recording these videos. So, okay, I feel like in the moment, like I've kind of already said a whole bunch of things in terms of recording these videos. Maybe I'll split this into 2 parts, and in the next video I'll talk more specifically about how I made this task more enjoyable. So this first video is basically all pretty much about making the life task more enjoyable by reflecting on all of the positive, truly meaningful things that are contained within that task. Because you can see that overall, like, I'm just happier because I have thought about this a lot and it's resonating deeply with me and it's helping a lot of people. And then I guess in the next video, since this is already so long, I'll talk about more specifically how I designed and broke down this task after the reflection. So hope you found this helpful. I guess I'm going to record the other one right now. If you did find it helpful, please let people know about the channel, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.